millennial pause. What's up, everybody, and welcome back to a fantastic additional episode of Who What Now Gaming, the podcast for consumers by consumers, where we ask the questions: who are you, what got you into gaming, and what type of gamer are you now? I am your humble host, Josh Stewart, and today we have a very special guest. We have Bryan. What up, dude?
What's up, man? How are you?
I'm good. How you doing?
Doing pretty well. It's a great day.
So welcome to the show. We're just going to get right into it because I feel like we got a lot to talk about here because I don't believe that you and I have ever actually had a genuine gaming conversation before.
Yep.
So I would love to just start off just for the viewers of the show. Why don't you tell us a little about yourself? Who are you?
Well, my name's Bryan. Love gaming, but see, the past few years been in the Navy, about past 5 years or so. Just got back. I was in Virginia for a little bit, Texas, and then California for my last three years. Yeah.
Oh, you've been all over the place.
Yeah, I've been all over. Inside the United States. I was on a ship at first. Didn't get to go to any other countries, unfortunately. But
yeah,
that's just the way the cards fell. But yeah, I did that. Before that, I was in remodeling, did carpentry, worked on some hospitals and stuff. But always loved the game. Just have been doing that since I was 6.
Yeah,
at a very young age. So yeah.
Hell yeah. What's your favorite place you've been so far?
I would say, probably Santa Barbara, California. Yeah, I love the vibes there. Great food. It was awesome. Weather was perfect for me because I don't really love to be hot,
Yeah.
and I don't mind the cold, but
Yeah.
it was like the perfect temperature, 70, 65 degrees, and that's kind of my vibe. So
Yeah, that's where it's at.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I don't ever like to be too hot. I'm a bigger dude, so I'm not a super huge fan of just sweating all the time.
Same.
But I don't mind the colder weathers. I hate when it's just so horrifyingly cold, where you just take a step outside and it just hurts to breathe.
Yeah, you're like, no thanks.
I'm good. I immediately, I'm an indoor cat. Immediately.
Yes.
So you all right? So at the age of 6, you started getting into gaming. What essentially or originally got you into gaming? Do you remember the first game you sat down and you were like, oh, this is gaming?
Yeah. Well, really, it was. It was people around me. I mean, that's typically how that happens. But it was the Nintendo 64. I remember.
Yes,
was the earliest that I can remember. The first game I played was I believe it was 007 GoldenEye.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, that was my jam back in the day.
Yeah,
it was so good. That I remember. Paperboy. Have you ever played that,
dude? Okay,
that's old school.
there are so many people I have tried to talk to about Paperboy, and very so few people know what I'm talking about.
It was so fun.
That game was amazing.
You just had to be there.
Yeah, it really
it was great.
So when the Nintendo 64, did you have the memory storage cartridge, the thing you had to buy extra?
I believe so. I think we did have one. Yeah.
Okay, so lucky few. I did not have one.
Ooh.
So every time I would play Paperboy, I would have to start over I was beginning the game completely brand new. Every time.
Oh man. Yeah.
So in order to beat the game, it was all right, it's Saturday, I got nothing to do. We're gonna see what's after this level,
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
That game was so good.
Yeah, the good old days of memory cards and stuff. I remember you had to, if you didn't have one, you were basically in the house until you either got bored. I remember just leaving the PlayStation on for a few hours. If I went to sleep and I'm like, I don't have a memory card, I don't want to turn this off and start over. I'm keeping it on. Mom didn't like that.
100%. Yeah, I think I said before on the show that like I had one of the early like Tony Hawk games on the PlayStation,
Love Tony Hawk.
and I was like, well, I couldn't. I was trying to get like every category before I'd like move on to the next like stage, and so there was like, there was like cheat codes and stuff that you could do to like turn balancing off, and I remember like trying to hit the like super super high score, and then I would hit a grind on just like an infinite loop, and then I would just put the controller down and like go have dinner and like come back
Yeah.
at like 3 million points, and I'm like, boom, next stage,
Yeah, that's funny. I didn't know about that, but
Oh,
my
really?
dad. Yeah, I didn't know about that glitch. But my dad, he was huge into Pac-Man. You know the one you go to like a pizza shop and there's just like a Pac-Man game.
Yeah.
He was so good at it. He could play forever. But I don't know what he did. But there was like some glitch in Pac-Man where you just go to like some corner and you could just chill there. The little ghosts just go around you and they don't come to you. I don't know how he did it, but he did it. He'll never tell me. So
Yeah.
it's a secret, I guess.
That was like one of my favorite things is like I didn't grow up in the age of like super readily available like arcades and stuff, but like we would go to like Hershey Park on like the on like summers and stuff, and I remember like they had like a dedicated like arcade, and that was like some of the most fun that I've like ever had, just going in there and being able to, and those games were designed to be super super difficult because like that's how they made money,
Right. Yeah.
And like I would remember like playing like Mortal Kombat or like even like Street Fighter and stuff, and just being insanely difficult, but just being drawn to it so unconditionally. Like it was like all I wanted to do. And then of course like my dad's like, oh, we just spent like $8 in quarters, and I'm like, no, more. Like,
more quarters. Let's go.
Like,
yeah, it was so addicting to be able to play something challenging, I thought. And once you lose, it's just like I need to get back in there and beat that, beat that level. It was
100%.
Yeah.
But that's how it was with like Paperboy. Because I didn't have the memory card or the memory cartridge. I guess it was like a block thing. But yeah, it was like the same thing. Like all I wanted to do was beat it. But then I remember some games had the memory like capabilities already built into it. So like I was a big fan of of Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time.
Oh, that was one of my favorites.
Oh, really? Absolutely.
I love it. Yeah, it was great.
Oh,
I remember playing that on the GameCube, actually.
Yeah.
That's what I had Ocarina of Time on. Just play that forever, for hours. It was so fun.
Dude, it was like I would play it just nonstop, but I didn't have the like I didn't beat it until like years later. But it was one of those games where the more I'd play it, like eventually I'd just like discover something new, or I'd be stuck for so long that like I wanted to feel like I was accomplishing something. So I just like completely wipe the game, like wipe the save and then start over. So like I've played the beginning of that game way more times than I've played the game like all the way through. And but it still brought so much joy every time I'd play it. Yeah, I'm playing it right now. I just got it for the Switch, like the original, like in the Nintendo 64 like format and everything, all blocky and choppy and stuff. And like I'm playing it now, and it's just like I feel like I've gone back in time, and it's so good.
That was a great game. I don't think I ever beat it either. Well, I'm not. I think you beat it, right?
Yeah, I've beaten it since like then. Yeah,
I haven't. I used to just play it for days and days, and then just like get hooked on something else, and then somehow the memory would be erased, and I would just come back to it and just play it again. But I used to love playing that from the start. It was so fun.
Dude, I have that problem now. Like, still as like an adult. Like, I'll be playing a game like this is the greatest thing ever, and then like something else will come out and be like, I'll just give it a shot, and then that's just all I'll play for like a little while. Yeah, and then it's hard to go back. Like, have you ever like wanted to play a game that you've played like before, but when you've gone back, it's almost like you have to reteach yourself the controls again to the point where you're like, ooh, I don't know if I could continue where I last saved. Like I almost have to start over just to be able to play it.
Yes, I think for me, the one that comes to mind most recently is um, Metal Gear Solid Snake Eater. That was one where,
Oh yeah.
yeah, that was one where I played the heck out of it for a while. I beat it, and then we go to something else. I'm like, you know what? I want to play Snake Eater again. I go back and I'm like, whoa, this is a
Yeah.
learning curve. Um, but yeah, and they had a couple versions of it. The old school Metal Gear Solid where it just shows like a camera from above, and you're
Mm-hmm.
kind of seeing the character run around. I always thought that was kind of tough, because you couldn't really see where the bad guy was around the corner. You're
Yeah.
like, all right, I don't know who's there. And then they ended up coming out with they like remastered Metal Gear Solid Snake Eater, and it
Mm-hmm.
was, I think they call it like subsistence or something. So you were behind the character. It was a third person view, and it was a lot easier, I thought. But yeah, that was one of those games that was tough, and I had to get back into it.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
I think like probably the greatest like innovation when it came to like the development of games through time is the ability to be able to like actually use the or control like the direction of the camera using the joystick,
Oh
because
yeah.
like all the older games were always like either like a fixed camera or like it would only hit like a couple of angles and stuff.
Right.
I'm playing Mario 64 with my kids, and well, with is kind of a stretch. I play it, they watch.
Yeah.
But I forgot that there's only like really like three camera angles, and you really have to like judge distances and stuff. Like half the time that I'm dying in the game is because I'm not seeing the right angle, so I'm like
Hmm.
misjudging a jump or something.
Yeah. Yeah. That was I believe so. The PlayStation One, if I'm remembering correctly, it didn't have the analog, the thumbsticks, right? And I remember, is that correct?
Yeah, that's right. Because it just had an analog stick and a D-pad, right?
Yeah, unless like midway through they were like, "Hey, we have this great new thing, thumbsticks." But I
Yeah,
remember playing
maybe.
the PlayStation, the
It
PlayStation
does
One, and
feel
it,
like, yeah.
yeah, and it didn't have any, and then the PlayStation Two I remember did, but I
Hmm.
can't remember if the PlayStation One like midway through like they did an update and were like, "Hey, we have these cool new inventions."
Yeah, that does feel like a marketing thing that like Sony would have thrown out there, and they're like, "Oh yeah,
Yeah,
by the way, we forgot this. Here you go. Like here's
right,
here's the updated controller."
right. Yeah, they're all in their meetings. They're like, "Hey, Phil, did you release that controller with the thumbsticks?" And he's like, "Damn it."
He's like, "Damn."
Yeah.
Yeah, what was that like old meme that was going around for like a couple years where it was like a little comic book strip thing, but he was like in an office, and they're like, "What if we just added this, or what if we did this?" And then it's just like one guy's like, "What if we just gave them what they wanted?" And then they just like
Oh
throw them
yeah.
out the window, you know?
Yeah, I feel like that meme applies to a lot of games.
Yeah,
You know,
100%,
for sure, Call of Duty, that's one of them. But
dude.
yeah,
Call of Duty, man, a lot. So I got a lot of love and I got a lot of hate for it.
mm,
Like I think it was good. It was really good,
yeah,
and I think we're kind of spiraling. I think it's more of a um I don't know, it's more of like a big time like streamer kind of game now. Like
right.
unless you are playing it every single day and you are 100% dedicated to Call of Duty, you just can't keep up. Or at least, I,
Right.
in my opinion.
No, I agree. There's especially there's there's times throughout like the seasons of Call of Duty where at first it's super sweaty. Like once a new season drops, everyone's playing it, and it's so hard to
Yeah.
to not get a lobby where it's like, man, these guys are cracked out of their minds. And then as the season goes on, it's not too bad. Towards the end,
Yeah, it
some
teeters
people,
out.
yeah, and some of the cracked players go play something else or whatever. But then once the new season drops, it feels like that's how it is again. Um, but yeah, that's I think Call of Duty, they just dropped another. Is it 4 or 3? I forget. Um,
4. Yeah.
is it 4? Okay, yeah, I've
Yeah,
been
I just
playing.
saw it.
Yeah, I've been messing around with the camos and stuff the past few days. trying to get back into it before I start streaming again. Because I was a
Yeah.
little rusty, a little rusty. So,
Well, I I I basically had the same thought. I don't even know why I'm hesitating on it. I can't even like. I was like, oh, it's been a while. I'm gonna play Call of Duty again. I'm gonna enjoy
mm,
it. And then I realized, because we're definitely gonna get into your streaming. I have recently started my streaming endeavors, and I thought, Call of Duty would be fun for just like a messing around, kind of talking to chat kind of like
oh
day.
yeah, right.
Um, but then I went to go, so I stream off of console, and the PS5 is super cool because you can't, if you have a PS5 version of a game, you can't play it directly off of like an external hard drive. It has to be directly on the PS5.
Oh,
So the giant pain in the ass with that is that if I want to play Call of Duty's like 256 gigs.
right.
And so I'm like, I have to either only play Call of Duty or I have to play only Call of Duty and one other game. And
Yeah.
it's like, man, you're killing me. Like I just want the ability to play it, but it's just getting bigger and bigger. And now
Mhm.
I don't know how, like, I'll say rumor has it because I haven't done a whole lot of research on it. But rumor has it that their new system is going to have like Call of Duty Hub, which will just be like the central hub of all Call of Duty. But you'll have to
Oh.
download that on top of like whatever the game is.
Hmm.
So instead of just having a bunch of separate downloads, it'll just be one giant file of like 380 gigs, and it's like
Okay.
I'm like, I don't know if I can handle that. Like that's so much.
Right. Yeah, and it's it seems like the size of the game, the consoles and whatnot aren't keeping up with that, because you get like what 500 gigs, I think.
Yeah,
I Have they done a terabyte for the PS5? I have a PS5. I haven't
I'm
played it
sure.
in a couple months.
Yeah, I'm sure they have the terabyte for the PS5.
Hmm.
I have the PS5 with, I think it's 250 gigs or
Okay.
maybe 500 gigs. But I went with that option because I have two external hard drives at 2 terabytes per.
Oh yeah, that's very
So I'm
nice.
like, I got plenty of space.
Right.
Why I don't, the console will just be the console. But then when I found out that I can't play any of the PS5 games off of the external hard drive, I'm like, well, that all goes completely out the window, and
Yeah, that
now
blows.
complete circle.
You remember back in the day, like PlayStation 2, would you have like a 20 megabyte little memory card? They were like, what are you
Yeah,
gonna do with 20 megabytes nowadays?
dude, I was just explaining to my kids, like they would understand. They're so small, but I was like, I downloaded Ocarina of Time onto the Switch in a matter of 5 minutes, and
Mm,
it takes up less space than any of the games that I have on there. And the game, like Ocarina of Time, is not a small game. It
right.
just doesn't need that much space. So I was like, when I was a kid, you didn't need a whole lot of space, but also
Right.
like the things you were playing on didn't have a lot of space. You know,
Yeah.
like
Right.
I remember my dad having a like his computer, and we were like, he was like, "Yeah, just upgraded. I got 50 gigs." And we're like, "What?" And
Man.
now he's rocking his computer with like 4 terabyte hard drive, like
Mm.
external towers and stuff. And I'm like, man, like I'm pretty sure my dad has just like every song ever created in the history of ever just on one of those, and it
Hmm.
still takes up less space. Yes.
That's what you need these days, for sure.
I'm telling you. So, Call of Duty. So is this something you're going? Are you like looking at streaming like Call of Duty like into your? Because it's been, well. Let's see. You're streaming now, right? Are you on Twitch still?
I am on Twitch, so yeah. Yeah, I edit some videos once in a while. Like if I have a good game or some funny clips or whatever, I'll put it on like
Yep.
TikTok or YouTube. But yeah, I do stream on Twitch, and I've been playing. Like I said, I've been playing the past couple weeks. Been getting on playing some multiplayer, just trying to get back in the groove. I got a new controller, because I play controller, but
Yep.
it's this guy, has a few paddles on it,
Oh, nice.
and switching controllers, with different paddles, that's kind of tough. You got to get the muscle memory down.
Yeah.
So I've been doing that. I'm like, I don't want to start streaming real rusty with a new controller. So
Yeah, I've never gotten the experience of using the paddles on the back.
mhm.
Do you like it? Like, is it more like what would you call it? Like ergonomically correct?
I do like it a lot. I wouldn't be able to play as well without them.
Mm,
It's just you have to move your fingers in a weird way, I think, to be able to do certain things, especially in a faster paced game like Call of Duty. It's nice to be able to play it up, but just press like moving a button back there, but keeping your
100%.
fingers on like the aim and the trigger buttons just in case. So I learned it was a lot more beneficial.
Yeah, I've
But
started to learn to do that that weird like I'll use like the two fingers for like the bumper and the trigger, and
mhm.
then when I'm trying to plate, like I just kind of like rotate my hands up, and then I kind of curl that finger
Oh
over to
yeah,
like hold the triangle, and I'm like
what they call that,
man, there
claw.
there would yeah, you got this weird claw thing going on, and you're
Yeah,
like it works, it's I'm doing it, but yeah, it would be nice to have an easier way, or like at least like the reflex to like do like a quick reload, but
hmm,
you still have to take your finger off of like the analog stick, and so like there's that
right.
split second in like in you're in a building or whipping around a corner or something that you probably would have been a lot safer if you never had to take your finger off, but
Yeah, and
one day
yeah,
I'll upgrade.
it's at first it's a challenge, but once you get it down, it's kind of one of those things where it's hard to go back to not having them. Yeah, I
Oh,
would just feel naked.
I could 100% agree. See, I
Mhm.
I went and bought those I think they're called like Vortex, I think is the company. But they're like the little rubber lifts that go on top of your analog sticks.
Oh
And
yeah,
I love those things.
yeah.
And then I tried playing
I think
without
it's
them one day, and
like
it's
this guy, right?
yeah.
Yeah, I can't play without him. I tried playing without it, and I was like, "What is going on?"
I had to reach behind me here. Yeah, this is what I'm rocking here. Nice
Yeah.
purple controller with
Oh yeah.
both up there. And I'm like, I legitimately can't play without them.
Hmm.
It's gotten to the point where I've played so long with them, I can't play without them.
Right. Yeah.
It feels gross.
Yeah. And I used to not use them, and I can't imagine how I would be if I didn't. It just feels like you're able to be more accurate with them
Yeah,
because you have a lot more space to cover than with the analog.
yeah,
Yeah. Um,
yeah. I feel like I can take my time and be like a lot more precise.
right. Yeah.
It's this isn't an advertisement, but they are pretty damn good. I
Yeah.
do like them a lot.
Yeah. I think mine
Um,
are control freaks. I think.
It did take a while to get used to them though, but like I
Mhm.
said, like now that I'm used to them, I legitimately can't do anything without them.
Yeah.
They're
Same.
it's the controller doesn't feel right without them, you
Uh,
know.
yeah, I agree. I couldn't do it. I tried. I was like, no, this ain't working.
Yeah. So
Yep.
you're a PC. Do you mainly play PC, or do you like kind of jump back and forth between like PC and console?
So I jump back and forth for when I was, let's see. So Warzone 1, like
Mm.
Warzone 2019, and when I
Yep.
believe, what was the next one? Black Ops 5, I think it was. So when I came out, I was on PlayStation at first, and then they didn't have the FOV slider,
Mm.
and it was more beneficial. When to stream on the PC, it just you get more frames and all that. So I switched over to that, and then I had the FOV, and it was great. And the game just felt more smooth. But I was I was playing for a while on PC, and then when uh, Warzone 2, or is that Modern Warfare 2, when that came out,
Yeah.
I I did it on the PS5 because because they had like an early access thing, and I wanted to get access
Yep.
to it, and they had the FOV slider. So I was like, I'll
Yep.
just play it on PS5. So I played on PS5 for I want to say like a year and a half, and then I just
Yep.
switched back over to PC.
Up until
Yeah.
you play any multiplayer. That was the thing that was the kicker for me. That was the
Mm-hmm.
one thing that like actually pissed me off when I was like like I was deep into some Call of Duty. You go and you play some like Warzone and stuff, and there you had the ability to change like your field of vision or FOV,
Right.
and then but then like you switch back to multiplayer, and I'm like, why am I so damn close? Like
Yeah.
back up a little bit, man. Like
Right. Yeah.
I'm over here like I don't even it's like I'm playing from the point of view of the dog that sits in the backpack.
Yeah.
I'm like
Right.
I don't need to be this close, man. Back up a
Yeah.
little bit.
It's like, man, why is the gun so big? You know, just
It's and like
it's a
yeah.
game changer with an FOV. I think I'm at like 120 right now. I kind of go back and forth between 115 and 120, but I think 120 is good for me right now. I might go to like 118 soon. I don't know.
Yeah, I wanted to go to 120, and then the switching between Warzone and multiplayer was throwing me off so much that
Mm,
I eventually just kind of like centered it. I think it was at like 95, I think is where I like ended up sitting at. Or like maybe it was like at 100 or just over or something, but it was like somewhere in that like sweet like middle spot where like I could play both consistently
okay.
without feeling like the camera was so dramatically different.
Yeah.
That and like when your FOV is like 120 or like or whatever the max number would be, you feel like you're moving so much faster.
Yeah.
And then I would go back to the standard, and I'm like, am I crawling? Am I wounded already? Like, why am I moving so slow? Like, I can't get anywhere. But like, I mean, reality, you're moving equally as fast.
Right. Yeah.
It's just that feeling.
Right. Back on the PS4 Black Ops 4 days. I was playing a lot of Blackout on Black Ops 4.
Yeah,
So fun. That was like one of the most fun BRs I think I've ever played.
that one was good.
It was so good. I would, that's when I started to get into like watching other people stream, and I started to stream a little bit myself then. But Shroud was insane
Yep.
at Blackout, and I'm watching him, and I'm like, this is before I really knew much about FOV sliders and all that, because I was on the PlayStation 4,
Mm-hmm.
and I never really played PC, but I'm like, why does it look like this guy's running twice as fast as me? And then I started
Yep.
to learn about it. I'm like, oh, that's why, because FOV
Yep.
slider. So
Yeah, I watched a lot of like when Warzone like original like initially dropped. And I think we had like I think it was like a 3-day early access or something. But then like certain streamers were able to play like even earlier than like the release date,
mhm.
and for like the testing and like beta, whatever's. And I remember watching so much of Nick Mercs and Tim the Tatman.
Yeah,
Like they were like those two, their duo were it was disgusting. It was just so good. And like I
yeah.
remember getting just this idea. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna go in and I'm just gonna wreck house, and it's gonna be, smooth sailing. It's gonna be cake. I mean, look at these guys. They're fucking killing it.
They give us false
And
hope.
then, oh my god, then I drop in and like first game, I'm like trying to figure out how the parachute works, die on fall damage. I'm like,
Mhm.
there is no like automatic like shoot thing until is there an automatic one on the first like pool
For aiming. What do
for
you?
the parachute, like when you drop into the map?
Oh, yeah. So yeah, there is. By default, it'll auto pull at I forget, like 50 feet or something,
Yeah,
and
but if you
I
do
usually take
it,
it off.
yeah, I was gonna say if you do like I found that if you would jump out, pull the chute, and then immediately cut it, then it takes away the automatic like pull, and so
Yes.
you could just plummet to earth.
Right.
And that was like a strategy, because then you could like instead of it being automatically pulled at 50 feet, if you timed it right, you could pull that bad boy at like 30 feet and land without taking like any damage.
Right.
And that was like that was the goal.
That's the
And
strat.
then dude, it was, and then it was just immediately just like a bloodbath. Like,
Mm-hmm.
remember, like, getting up from the couch, the wife's like, "How's it going?" I'm just drenched in sweat, and I'm like, "I lost so many friends." It
Yeah.
was so bad.
Oh man, he didn't make it out alive.
Didn't make it.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, is he
When
okay? Yeah, he's fine. We're loading in right now.
yeah, we're loading it out. He respawned.
Yeah.
Yeah, when Warzone first came out, it just I think what Call of Duty did, they put like a bunch of things from other games and they kind of put it all in one. I know, what was it? Before, let's see, before Warzone, I think the only other game, actually, no, you couldn't really come back to life in a battle royale in any other ones, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah. Well, so all right, hang on. I gotta remember this right because like was for no. So Fortnite came before Warzone,
Yes,
and Fortnite, I believe, I didn't play a whole lot of it.
same.
But I think there were like I think there was some. I feel like I remember there being a way that you could like bring somebody back,
Hmm.
but I could be
Okay.
wrong. But that I do know like once like early Warzone or early Battle Royale games, like it was pretty brutal. Like you got
Yeah,
one life. That was
right.
it.
Like
Like
PUBG,
yeah, like
Pub.
don't fuck it up. Like
Yeah, yeah, that was pretty raw.
yeah,
But that was one of the things I liked about Blackout was, it was one and done. It just felt like more pressure, and each fight, it was like, man, I can't go down here because that's it. I can't come back.
yep,
And the transition to Warzone, then at first, I was like, man, I really don't like that you can come back to life. I thought the Gulag was a unique idea,
yeah.
but I resisted Warzone for a while and ended up coming around. It grew on me. I like the respawn aspect of it now. Yeah, I think that's fun. I'm not a huge fan of like the resurgence part of it, where like you die and then you come back. It kind of just feels like a respawn, like a bigger multiplayer match.
Yeah.
Um, I'm more of a BR guy in that
Yeah,
aspect.
I have not played in quite some time, and I think I just recently like re-downloaded it, and that's how I kind of like found out about how massive this game is going to take up on my station.
Yeah.
But it was uh what early it was like the original Gulag, and you could like people found ways to like mess with other people, which in the beginning it was funny.
Hmm.
Um, where like I think like you would have like a grenade or like a claymore or a bouncing Betty or something, and people would like put them down. But everyone that was standing up in like the what do you call it, like the cells or whatever, you could throw rocks,
Hmm.
and people were finding ways to trigger explosives or to
Oh,
like or like a group of people would just like start throwing rocks and like actually take the people in the gulag were like taking additional damage because they were just getting hit by rocks and stuff. And so like in
yeah.
the beginning it was funny, but then people got really good at it. And then you're like, hey man, I'm just trying to fight, my chance to keep playing the damn game. Like, can
Yeah.
you just give me a minute?
Right. And then, if you're in a competitive mindset, just the variables, just the random variable of some guy up there throwing something and messing up, it's like, dude, I was going to win this
Yeah.
if this random thing didn't happen. Um, but yeah, that sounds like a pain in the butt for sure.
Well, and the last time I've seen with the I think the last time I played Warzone, it's now what you go into the Gulag duos, right?
So
And then
I
there's some guy who comes out with a big old fucking gun and just absolutely obliterates it. It's a pain in the ass. And
that they did that for a little bit, but I believe they took that away, if I'm not mistaken. That was they did
oh,
that in
okay.
Warzone 2. Yeah, I wasn't a gigantic fan of that.
No, I wasn't even in the slightest.
Yeah,
I hated everything about it,
right.
especially like being a like a gullible person. because the player chat would just immediately open up as soon as you got into the gulag. And so then some people were like, oh, did you know that if we team up and we take out, the warden or whatever, then we all go free? And you're like, all right, like now I got to make a decision. Do I trust you?
Yeah.
Or do I turn my back on you? And so then it's like, 9 out of 10 times somebody's turned their back on you.
Yeah.
But then you get that one group who's just like, all right, let's do this. They all take them down and everybody goes back. And you're like, yeah, see, now we beat it. But then there's always just that one person who's like, yeah, go for it. And then he goes and hides in a corner while everyone just gets absolutely demolished.
Yeah, you got to watch who you trust on those in the BRs. Yeah, because you would be playing, whatever, like duos, trios, and you would get teamed up with not your own teammate. It would just be some random other person that died. Yeah. And it's like, you got to rely on this guy who, you're not really sure how he plays. Yeah, that was an unfortunate part of the game for a little bit.
Yeah, I was not a huge fan.
Yeah.
But I do remember playing when the developers would they would drop like a new gun, and then somebody would discover some absolutely disgusting broken build for it. Like I remember there was like some I think it was like a shotgun or like a supposed to be like a mid-range like rifle, but it was basically like you could snipe people like full blown across. Oh, it was either a marksman rifle or it was a sniper, but for some reason it completely eliminated all bullet drop.
Oh, so like hit scan.
Oh, 100%. So you could be you could be like 1,000 miles away and just perfect headshot every time directly through the scope, like no big deal.
Yeah, and they have a tendency to do that, and I feel like a part of it is intentional. Because they want to bring some attention to the game. It's like, dude, you go to work and your buddy's like, hey, bro, did you play Warzone? They're like, no. I'm like, man, this gun is just completely broken. You gotta try it. And
it's true.
I feel like that would get some people on there, like the DMR. Back in Verdansk. Oh my. Yeah. I stopped playing for a couple of days. I was like, I can't. Yeah, it was.
No,
it was rough.
You're right, because it would draw attention to the game. And then everyone would just grind that weapon.
Yes.
And then you would just see that was the one thing that always kind of bugged me. But that's more of like my personal preference. Is I enjoy playing a game where there's so much I don't know, like build diversity. Where like everyone's using different stuff all the time. But then when you get those moments where like someone's like, oh, this gun's broken, then you're just in a lobby with everyone who's wearing the Rosa skin and the fire breathing shotgun, and you're like, it's all the same shit, man. Like, we're not actually doing anything. It's everyone's playing the exact same thing.
Right. That's one of my gripes with Call of Duty in general is the kind of the meta culture that they've created with, you have this one gun and that's the gun, or it's typically a pair, like, oh, this SMG's broken and so is this LMG or something, and like that's the class you have to use if you want to come anywhere close to winning the game. And I hate it. I love a balanced gun system, where you could use any gun, and typically I think how that works is like the time to kill is usually similar. Like if you have a slow firing LMG, the bullets, each round is going to cause more damage opposed to like another LMG that just shoots really fast, has a high fire rate. But the time to kill is typically the same, because that'd be more so balanced. But yeah, Call of Duty is notorious for that.
Yeah, and then you get like you get people who like study the bullet spread patterns, and they're like, it's almost like second nature, where they're like I've legitimately seen videos where people like have their mouse and they're like, okay, this gun sprays in this pattern, and then you do this. So okay, to counter it, we're gonna go the opposite, and we're gonna go like this, and it's dead on. Like completely dead on, and you're like, how do you just have this pattern memorized, especially in like the heat of the? Listen, I when it comes to the heat of the moment, all strategy out the window. I am
Yeah.
I'm hitting buttons. I'm whipping the gun around. I'm
Right.
just hoping to hit something.
Yeah.
The
Your fight or flight.
closer that I am, the better, because there's a
Mm-hmm.
higher chance I'm gonna hit you.
One of
And
those
it's
bullets are
just,
gonna hit.
yeah, there's got to be at some point.
Yeah, I know. Shroud was really good with recoil control, like in PUBG.
Yeah.
It would just look like there was zero recoil. Yeah, I guess, just time. Just hours and hours.
And that's what I'm saying. Like
Yeah.
you put in that time, you put in the effort. I mean, I'm not saying that there's not like. I mean, there are some absolute beasts out there for this game, and I commend you. But at the same time, like, I am not that type of gamer. Like, I don't know if I could play Call of Duty every single day forever and never get like even remotely bored with it. Like, there's some times
Yeah.
where like I'm fixed in it and that's all I want to play. But
Yeah.
like every so often, like sometimes I want to go and do a different, whatever. Like I want to play a different game or play a different mode or something. Like I loved when when they had zombies. I loved
Yes.
it. That stuff was my stuff. Like I
Oh,
got
yeah.
to the point where I was like I'm watching YouTube videos, like figuring out the exact things you got to pick up, things you got to drop off, whatever.
yeah.
And, like I'm trying to like speed run, like certain
Right.
certain
like pack
maps
a
and stuff.
punch.
Yeah, 100%.
Oh yeah.
But then they came out with what was it? Onslaught, I think is what it was called, and it was dog shit.
Really? I know
You didn't play it?
Black Ops. No,
Woof.
I played a lot. Black Ops 1. I think that was Kino der Toten or Nacht der Toten. I forget exactly which one. Actually, I think Nacht der Toten was the first in like World at War or something like that. But Kino der Toten, played that a lot throughout college, man. That we were just addicted to zombies. And then I remember playing Black Ops 2 a lot, and the Black Ops 3 played that a little bit. But as far as zombies, after that wasn't. I don't really have a lot of memory of playing after Black Ops 3 zombies.
Yeah, well, they nailed it with what was not the last game that came out with zombies. I think it was Modern Warfare 2, whatever the last Modern Warfare was. I think that had maybe it was Vanguard. I think maybe it was Vanguard Zombies was absolutely fire.
I played that a little bit. I thought that was really good.
Yeah, Vanguard. So was it Vanguard or was it the game after that where they were with the leveling system for your account, but also the leveling scales for your guns were just absolutely bonkers, batshit bananas. It was like I genuinely can't think of which game it was, but it was very recent, like easily within the last like 2 or 3 years.
Okay.
But you'd have to play the gun, and then you'd have to level the gun up to a certain like level, and then when you got that level, you would unlock an attachment. But then you couldn't use said attachment because you would have to unlock the original gun make.
Yeah.
At that, so then you'd have to go find that damn gun, and then you'd find that one, you'd start leveling that up. But then you're like, okay, well now in order to get to this, I have to get this attachment, and I can't get that attachment until this attachment's done. And then when that attachment's done, I got to get that gun. And then by the end of it, I'm like, I need a fucking like web of string here to figure out how. I just want the damn attachment. Just give me the attachment,
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was it Modern Warfare 2? I think that
it could very well be.
Yeah, like the most recent one.
I just remember it just being an absolute train wreck, and I hated it. So I just want the damn attachment. Just give me the attachment. Or like a video would come out. They're like a gun would come out on a Friday. On Saturday, for some reason, there's like one YouTuber who's like, bam, I've unlocked it. Here's how you get it and do this. And I'm like, what?
You're like,
Like
dude,
how it oh,
I gotta work, man.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
Oh
Like
yeah. Yeah,
it's
it's funny.
drove me crazy. But I mean, other than that, game is great.
Hmm.
I think Call of Duty's on the right track, and I
Right.
think they're teetering. But I really do like. I think if they listen to the community, I think they could go full blown like best game again.
Hmm.
Like it's
I agree.
the following for Call of Duty is so massive,
Yeah. It's
but
huge.
they're losing players. They've lost a lot of streamers like in the last
Hmm.
year, just because of the same like stupid shit.
Yeah.
The downfall is that a lot of those streamers are going to Fortnite, but they added the was it like the no build version thing,
Oh yeah, yeah.
which I'll shit on a little bit, but it is basically what I'm good at because I can't build for shit.
Same.
But I try to play it every so often. I'll play like Fortnite for like a couple weeks and then I'll just not, you
Hmm.
know. But I have not found a battle royale game that has been as good as when like Warzone first dropped.
Hmm.
Not like what it's become, but like when, because you remember like when Warzone first dropped, like nobody had anything and nobody knew what the hell we were doing.
Right.
So
That's what made it
everyone's
fun.
trying. Yeah, exactly. Everybody's
Yeah.
trying something. Everyone's discovering something, and like
Hmm.
it felt so new and brilliant. And then when they came out with Warzone 2 and they basically just reskinned the map, but
Mm.
everything was the same, it just really fell short.
Yeah. Right.
The
Yeah. You
island
would.
was kind of fun, but like, same
Caldera.
concept.
Yeah.
Um, is that what it was called?
Yeah.
The
The like the tropical island
Oh
that
no
had
no
the
no
beach. Oh, okay.
the one with the,
Oh,
I think it was like a
Rebirth.
prison. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. There you go.
Alcatraz. Yeah,
Yeah.
I actually went there last year in San Francisco. It was pretty cool.
Yep.
Yeah, it's the map from Black Ops 4, I think was a lot closer to what it looks like in
Oh,
person.
I've always wondered that, like how
Yeah.
accurate that was.
It's fairly. I mean, there's some differences. I think they had to change some stuff around to make it more playable.
Right.
But in person, things look a lot closer. I think the map that they made, it was a little bit more spread out. Um, but yeah, it was pretty cool. It was pretty cool to see that. Hey, this is Alcatraz Island. This is
Yeah.
Rebirth.
Were you walking around? You were like, that takes like 600 to open that one.
Yeah,
You're like,
right. Yes.
mystery box usually spawns around this
Right.
area.
Pack of
They're like,
punches right over.
yeah, yeah. They're like, sir, we need you to focus, and you're like, yeah, I got this. I know what I'm
Right.
here for.
I'm doing like a tour.
Yeah,
Like, yeah, if you see over here, guys, one time I
yeah,
killed like 4 people.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, right here, this window,
Yeah.
just they keep coming in through this one. You got to board this one up all the time. This is your
Right.
main spot right here.
Right, guys. And then there's a spot over here. It's glitched. If you get on top of this, they can't touch you. And they're like,
Yeah,
what? Everyone's taking notes.
yeah.
Yeah.
You're just like standing on a box. You're like, yeah, try to touch me. What's up?
Yeah.
Right?
What's up? Hey, glitch. What can you do?
That's great,
Oh, yeah. That was fun. Good times.
man. So what are you playing now besides like Call of Duty?
What am I playing now? Honestly, it's going to sound boring, but nothing. I was thinking
Well,
about playing like some old school Roller Coaster Tycoon because I have that on my computer. What else? I have Death Stranding here that I actually never played. Um, have you played what's the name of it? It just came out. I think it's a Ubisoft game. It's a first person shooter.
just came out.
Yeah, I just had it on my thing here, and I deleted it the other day. X Defiant. Have you played that?
I have
recently?
not, but
Hmm.
it has been suggested to me a few times, like within like the last like week or two.
Okay.
I don't know. It sounds like something I should definitely get into.
Right. Yeah. It has.
I would like to try it out.
Yeah, it has like some some Call of Duty vibes to it. It's like a faster pace shooter. I played the beta a while ago. Like
Okay.
they were supposed to release it, I think, like last year. But their release date was pretty close to Call of Duty's, and I think it would
Yeah.
have been a huge mistake. They ended up like pausing. I guess they were fixing some stuff on it. I think they're going back through some beta stuff. I don't know if it's
Okay.
actually been released yet, but I know some people were streaming it the other day, and I actually didn't get a chance to check it out. But it felt decent.
Yeah. I've been seeing a lot of games that I would not have expected to see people like streaming or like
Mhm.
kind of like popping up in more like popular like plays. Like I just saw Anthem. Do you remember Anthem?
No, I don't.
I think it was BioWare or one of those. But it was so hyped as this like beautiful futuristic like power armor. Um, it was like if you took like Titanfall, Call of Duty, and the like graphic and world beauty of like Assassin's Creed games and
Okay,
put it all into one. And the concept was really really cool. And I remember buying the game when it came out and it just fell so short. It was
really.
broken. It was terrible and stuff. And then eventually they did fix it, but it was
Hmm.
so it was just so far gone at that point that nobody came back. So I forgot that I owned the game. It's just been sitting in one of like the closets and stuff. But I saw somebody playing it on Twitch the other day, and I don't know. I might give it another shot. I
Yeah,
pulled it out. And, it's there. I might just see for myself, see if it's actually fixed.
yeah. That's funny. A launch of a game can be so good, or it could be really, really bad.
Yeah,
What was Battlefield? I think their recent title that came out. I just felt like the game was just so unfinished. Like I played it and I was like, "Yo, this could be great," and they released it
yeah,
soon after, and it wasn't finished. It just didn't feel. It felt like there was a lot more that they needed to do to it. Um,
yeah.
yeah,
Battlefield was it Battlefield 3, I think, was my favorite.
was that Bad Company
Um
or no? No, I think
no,
Bad
this
Company was
was it
something
was
else.
right it was the one right before when they went back to like what was it, World War 1 or something.
Okay.
I think it was like Battlefield 1, so it was like the one right before that.
Hmm.
Um and I remember like that was huge to me. But I also like I didn't have um like I would go over to like friends' houses and they would have like this like full setup, massive TV and like
Hmm.
like the gaming chairs or like a big ass like beanbag, chair kind of
Yeah.
thing. And then I had a massive box TV that I only got because my dad got a new television for the living room. So I got this massive thing. I cleared off everything on top of my dresser, threw that bad boy up on there.
Oh
But
yeah.
because my dresser was so high, I'm over here like looking straight up. So then I would pull my I don't know why, but
Like you're at a
as a
Walmart.
yeah, 100%. And as a kid, I was an idiot, as most of us were when we were children. But
Oh yeah, I was an idiot.
I had a bed. Okay, I'm going somewhere with this. I promise.
Yeah. No, you're good.
I had a bed, and I thought, what would be really cool, is one of those pull out sofas. And my dad was like, "That's the dumbest shit I've ever heard. You should just keep your bed. It's a bed." And I go, "No, no, no. I'm a cool guy. I want a pull out sofa."
Yeah.
And my dad's like, "All right, you're an idiot, but I'll do it for you," kind of thing. And so I got this like trashed like pull out couch from like my
Dude.
grandparents' house and stuff.
That's
And
funny.
I slept on that for like years. So when I had when the bed was all folded up, like I had a lot more like room in my bedroom.
Right.
Um,
It's
but
genius.
yeah, I was fucking yeah. Are you kidding
Right.
me? I was ahead
And
of my
then
time.
and then when you pull the bed out, then you can just like kind of sit back and look up. It's
So
perfect
good.
angle. Yeah.
Listen, I'm a genius. All right,
That that's a big brain.
Dad, you were wrong. I was right.
Yeah.
Okay,
Dad, listen to your
but
son.
like so then I would pull the couch out a little bit and I would sit up on top of the couch just so that I wasn't like looking up all the time when I was trying to play the game. And like that's what I would play it off of.
Genius.
Before that though, I had we got this like portable. It was another one of those like box TVs, but this was like one that like people would bring with them to like go camping.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was like 12 inches corner to corner. And I remember like before I got the big TV, which wasn't, it was probably only like, 22 inches, but like before that one, I had this like 12-inch, corner to corner television, or maybe it was 10 inches. But I
Mm-hmm.
remember having to basically sit like a foot away from the screen
Oh yeah.
just so I could make like anything out, and like
I
the
feel
game.
you.
Yeah, the only games I could play on there were like Sly Cooper or like Crash Bandicoot, because I was like
Mm.
the colors were so defined in there. I was like I could make out what the hell I'm playing,
Yeah, those are
And
some
it
good.
wasn't until like like later in life when like I could buy like a good TV where I was like,
Mm.
oh, so we've come so far in
Yeah,
technology.
right. Man, yeah, this is great.
Uh, what was
Yeah.
your setup like as a kid? What was your gaming setup?
Whew. So my gaming setup, I remember I just used to have the TV. We had one of those big box TVs that you used to have to slap on the side if it fizzed a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of those you had to like mess with the
Get
antenna.
too close to it with a magnet and you're like take
Yeah,
a satellite down. Yeah.
right. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. You put some aluminum foil on the antenna and it makes amplifies or whatever. But so I used to have this pretty decent sized TV. I guess for me, it's probably small nowadays. But as a kid, so everything looked huge, and
Mm-hmm.
I would just kind of sit that on like a crate or something, or on the floor, and I would just sit right in front of it and just play for hours. That was kind of how my setup was. And it evolved. I ended up getting like a nightstand and I put my little TV on there.
Nice.
That's basically how it went.
Hell yeah.
Oh yeah.
Dude,
State of
that's
the art.
awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I'll tell you. I think I think we mainly just talked about Call of Duty.
Yeah,
But I mean,
big part of it.
I'll take it. I mean,
Yeah.
Call of Duty has definitely been such a huge part of everything that like I've like. Call of Duty was my first, probably not first, but like my first real introduction to like multiplayer first person shooter. Like
Okay.
I say not my first because my first introduction to like the first person Jesus, you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, of course.
Was for the Nintendo 64 was GoldenEye.
Oh yeah.
And because I mean that you could get together with your friends and just absolutely go bonkers with.
Right.
Like
Don't look at my screen.
Yeah, 100. Oh yeah, dude, do you remember those days?
Oh yeah.
Oh my god, the split screen days where you're just like, knock it off, man. You're like,
Yeah.
well, I can't. It's 15 inches, like corner to corner. I don't know what to tell you. You know?
I have peripheral vision.
Yeah.
I literally can't help it.
Drives me crazy. But
that was my first. Same things. First person shooter. The introduction to it. Yeah.
Well, I got on the bandwagon real late when it came to Call of Duty. I remember it was like a month, maybe 2 months before Black Ops 2 was releasing. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to get into it. I want to play some Black Ops. Like, I want to get into Call of Duty. And my buddies were like, all right, here's what we're going to do. Like, I had roommates, so we're like, here's what we're going to do. We're all going to get together and everyone's going to have their TVs in like our, different parts of the house and stuff. And then we're going to go and buy Black Ops, like the first game, which at that time, because it had been out forever, I think I bought mine used for like $10 maybe. And so we all got together and we just linked and we would just play like Black Ops up until the new game came out. And then I was working at a pizza shop. And so like the idea was that we would, at the end of our shift or like close to the end of our shift, just before the GameStop right next door would close, we would all just run over because, we all worked. We were all roommates who worked together, lived together, played together. EA Sports. So yeah, so I was like, I was like, that's what we're just gonna do. We all get together and we're just gonna dominate Black Ops 2. And from that point on, like honestly, I was hooked.
Just hooked.
I every year I'd buy the new Call of Duty.
Mm-hmm.
And even last year, I was like, I'm not buying the new Call of Duty. I'm gonna break the cycle. They're not gonna get my money again.
That's me every year.
It's every year. I'm like, this is going to be garbage. I have to hold face. And then I think I almost made it. It was like 2 or 3 days before launch, and I was like, fuck, we're buying it.
We're
like,
getting it.
Here we go. Like,
the show must go on.
And then I'm like, all right, here we go. And then I boot it up, and then my friends are like, oh, is it worth buying? And I go, no. But I'm loving it anyway, and I'm going to keep playing it, and that's what I'm going to do. And they're like, does it make you happy? And I go, no. I cried, tears of sadness, but I'm playing it. I'm leveling it up, and I beat the battle pass, and
it's a love-hate relationship, more hate, but there's some love in there that keeps you going.
I'll tell you what, the pandemic.
That was prime.
The battle pass stood zero chance. I think our thing was we beat the battle pass, like honestly, I want to say maybe like in a week, maybe 2 weeks at most.
That's a grind.
It was brutal.
Mm-hmm.
It was nuts. But we also hit like every double XP weekend. Like we were from like sun up to sundown, and it was it. Like there were times where I hit those real gamer moments where like you get up and you're like, I don't remember if I ate this morning or yesterday.
That's when you're having fun.
Dude, and you like walk in front of a mirror and you're like, God, I should shower. Like
I look like ass.
Yeah. You're like, I look like I just crawled out of a cave. Like, what year is it? Like,
right. Yeah. Unlucky for me.
Those are the best ones.
Yeah, I was stationed on my ship during COVID. The worst time. I wish I would have been able to be at home.
Were you really?
Yeah. So we would go out for like a month and a half, and it seems like every single time for the past few years that there is a new release of Call of Duty, I have to like go out on an underway, for like a month.
That's when you gotta leave. Yeah,
dude. No lie. When Black Ops 4 Blackout came out, the first BR from Call of Duty, I went to boot camp, and then a week later it dropped. So I was gone for like a few months. Couldn't play it at all. I was so salty. And then when Warzone came out, this is no lie. This is going to sound made up, but I downloaded it in the morning. I think it dropped at like 10 or something. I had to leave and be at the ship at like 3. So I got to play it for like 2 hours.
Yeah, they had to leave.
Like all the days. Dude. All the days they could have dropped it. We could have went on an underway. It had to be that day. And I couldn't play it for like a month. I was so mad. It was awful.
Dude, I mean, this is probably going to sound like a super stupid question, but I'm full of them, so I'm going to throw them out there.
Bring them on.
So I don't think you understand. You got to prepare yourself. It's probably so stupid. You can't play anything like when you're on the ship or when you're like away. Like it is full work 100% of that entire time, right?
It depends. So it depends what your job is in the Navy. You're not going to be able to get any internet access. So I played a lot of 2K, played a lot of Madden with friends on the ship.
Okay. And now I feel a lot less stupid. Thank you.
Oh no! Hey, I didn't know when I went on. I was like, "Am I going to be able to hook up to the Ethernet cable?"
Yeah.
So they were like, "No, dude, that's stupid."
They're like, "No, you can't, idiot." Yeah. You're like, "Okay, thank you."
I'm like, hey, I don't know. I'm just Navying for the first time, so I would play a lot of basketball games and football and stuff. Got pretty good at those, but yeah, I would have to wait till I got home. So I had this. I don't know if you probably know it, the games cases, where it's like a briefcase. It has a TV in it, and then it has space for you to put your console.
Yeah,
I had one of those. I had to get one.
Damn, nice.
Yeah, I was like the cool guy, with this PlayStation 4. I would come on the ship, and we'd play Madden all night. It was great. Be tired in the morning. Yeah.
That's cool as shit, actually. I completely forgot about those. I forgot that
Yeah.
That's really, yeah.
If you're on the ship, you have to have one.
We had I had this guy that who like every so often he would like pull up to like either like a job site or like at work or whatever, like depending on where we were.
Mm-hmm.
And he took like, that like in some like SUVs and like vans and stuff, they have like the TV screen that like folds down for like, the kids in the back seat and stuff.
Yeah.
He didn't have kids, but he bought the SUV specifically so that in the trunk he could hook up his game system.
Yes.
And then where you would keep the headphones, he had game controllers. So on break, he would go over, turn the car on, and like play like a half an hour of like, Call of Duty or whatever. And like he turned the car into a hotspot.
Oh,
So
man.
he would just game for like all lunch break, and then it was like bam,
innovation.
done.
I love that.
Yeah, I was like, this guy's either winning or I'm severely losing. Like I don't
pimp my ride stuff.
Yeah, 100%. It was nice,
funny.
but I'm like, man, could you imagine like playing like Call of Duty on that tiny little like window screen?
Yeah,
yeah, I did like make the joke at one point. I was like, you could do like multiplayer and stuff. You could just have somebody up at the front console one, and then somebody sits in the back seat and plays that one. It's
yes, that sounds like the setup.
It's the best.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, we definitely, absolutely, 100%, without a doubt, have to have you on again. This was so much fun.
Mm-hmm.
I have a lot of other games that I want to talk to you about, but it definitely seems like Call of Duty seemed to be the one we hit today.
Call of Duty took the show.
It's good. I've shit on it in previous episodes, but I mean, when it comes down to it, like, I just have the gripes with like the way that it is now, and like sometimes you play a game and it doesn't really feel like the developers actually give a shit about like what the players want or what they're talking about, and they just keep money grab kind of thing. But when it comes down to it, take the microtransactions away, take the extra money, the metas, the money you're spending on like extra battle pass, like nonsense or whatever, like the extra stuff that isn't necessary for the enjoyment of the game,
right?
And Call of Duty is an absolute banger. It's a fantastic game,
so good.
But I just feel like it's getting saturated with a lot of like the extra nonsense stuff, but we'll save it. We'll dive into it for another time. Dude, you said you're getting back into streaming.
Indeed.
I would love for to take this opportunity here. Give yourself a shout out to anything and everything that you would like to do. Where can we find you? Where are you at? Twitch, information stuff. Where can we get you? And then after we finish this here, I'm going to get those links from you.
Okay.
And I'm going to throw everything at the bottom of the description, as I do for every episode. If you want to find anything or have any questions about anything that we've talked about on the episode, chances are that you can find that information in the description on one of the links, or you can use one of the links to get in contact with us, and we can talk about it. That's the point of the show, So yeah, where can we find you? Where are you at? Where?
Yeah, so I appreciate it. So my gamer name, this is going to be a name for everything: YouTube, all my social medias and whatnot, Twitch. It's Mercalyst. It's MERCALYST. That's it. That's my name. That's where I'm at everywhere. So
see that's how you know that you've like nailed the name, when you get a name that you don't have to put a bunch of numbers at the end of.
Yeah,
that's like one of those things where I see people like pop up and they're like, oh man, I'm Jump Cat 1645. I'm like, you've had to change that a lot, haven't you? Like there was a search for that one. Like,
Killer 1275. It's
yeah. Dude, that's awesome. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Please make sure to go and find Bryan on Twitch, on any social medias. Let's get the follow train going down. You can find me on Instagram at Phoenix Stewart. We are now on Twitch, same name, Phoenix Stewart. We go through every Monday from 10 to about 12. I like to talk with anyone about literally anything when it comes to like gaming and nerdy TV shows. We play a little game here and there, but mainly we give updates on future guests. We talk about the show a lot. And I ask questions that I'm genuinely curious about and would love to bring up on the podcast in future episodes. You can also find me on TikTok. The show has a TikTok, Who What Now Pod. Go follow that. It's a lot of really good stuff. Um, and if you are a TTRPG player or a gamer who's got a little bit of a spicy side, go find Danny Reed's Dirty Books on TikTok. A lot of really cool recommendations on there. And of course, our tech guy for the entire show, the whole reason that any of this is even possible, and the one of the best moderators someone could ever have on Twitch. Please, please, please go check out Noah on YouTube and TikTok at Nerdy Noah Reads. Fantastic information and articles. Wonderful episode that was just released as of this recording, which was Cozy Games. Super super cool, great guy. Please go give him a follow. And other than that, all links and topics that we have had discussion about today will be in the description. So once again, Bryan, thank you so much for being here. We definitely have to have you back.
Oh, of course. Thank you for having me, man. It's great.
Until next time, everyone, we'll catch you on the next one.